Alright guys, I'm putting this vise back together. I'm just going to do it off camera. Just want to get it done. I'll show you what it looks like when it's all back together. Nothing rocket science here. Okay, sorry about the handheld here, but got it back together. Had to do a little bit of adjusting, so there you guys can see those the ends of the screws that hold the jaws on. So I had to grind them off a little bit because we ground these jaws, and so they're slightly thinner, so the bolts are too long, but that was easy. Okay, and then on the bottom side, so these retaining plates, and I had lapped those because they had some scoring, and to get their clearance, if this is showing up or not, anyways, I made paper shims 2/1000ths under each of these retaining blocks. So I think I'm just going to leave the paper in there. I think it's going to be just fine. Anyways, it's got a really good fit. So just got to put the base plate back on. Alright, there it is, all back together. Okay, so I'm just going to store this away until we get the rest of the machine done. We're going to work on making this replacement nut. So we've got our tap, we've got a piece of stock. I've got to turn the OD down on this. It's too big, but that's better to be too big than too small. Alright, so this piece of stock is not round. So we're down to 750. So let's take another 2 and hope it cleans up with that. Okay, moment of truth. Yeah, we're a little under. Actually, this end's good. So we got a little taper. Should have checked that first. Okay, these are right on. Okay, that's 1/1000th under our mark. I think we'll be okay though. It's not super critical. We'll get 2 good ones and then one that'll be a little bit looser. Alright. Okay, I got my travel dial set up and we got a parting blade. So, and I've already calculated the width of the parting blade plus our dimension, and I'm just going to mark these off. We're not going to part them now because I want to leave this as one assembly and do all the drilling and tapping before parting this off. In here and find our edge. Okay, right there. Set my 0. And we're looking for 840 thousandths. We'll move over. $840 right there. Okay. Let's just give that a mark. Okay, and then let's just do a sanity check. Okay, I like that. Alright, last one. Okay, there we go. Alright. Alright, slight adjustment to the plans, guys. So off camera, this stock goes in there quite a ways. The other end of this piece of stock is bent, so it's not all usable. But I did turn a little bit more, and I took a little less, so we have a better fit. And what we'll do, we'll measure back from this end for our third nut, and then we'll just sacrifice this piece in the middle here. That'll be much better. So I'm going to do that. Well, I'll see if I can film it. Okay, carriage is locked, our travel dial is zeroed. Just going to mark this. So we'll see how far we can go in here. And I'll go like that. Alright, I think that'll be much better. I've been trying to figure out the best way to do this. So I've already got my centers marked. I just use the calipers and split the distance. And since these are going to be individual nuts, if they don't end up being clocked the same, doesn't matter, because we're going to part them all off and we're all done anyways. So I'm thinking maybe collet block might be the way to go. So I can clamp that in the mill vise and do them one at a time. One of the challenges is I need to have enough elevation to get this extra long Acme tap through. So I can raise the collet block up with a couple parallels, and still get good purchase contact on the block to hold it in there. I think that's what I'm going to do. I know there's probably a dozen different ways to do it, but so far this seems the most logical to me. Alright, we're going to find our center here. I know you guys can't see that, but there. Come in 100 for the tip diameter, okay? And then we're coming in 373. We could have measured off our block and then come over 875. That was my original plan, but this was just easier. That's probably enough. Drilling brass can be a little tricky, so I think it'll be better without a pilot hole. We're going to find out. Everything might go off the rails here, but let's give it a shot. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. It grabbed pretty good and it pulled our collet block up. I think we're okay though. All right. Well, we're making 3 of these, so if this one's screwed up, we've got 2 more chances. Alright, we're going to have to drop the table quite a bit. Shut you guys off for a second. Let's get plenty of oil on here. Feels like it's starting, and the fit felt pretty good there. It's definitely making a different sound and a different feel toward the end here. It's more of a, feels more like it's forming the thread than cutting it. All right, I don't want to bring those chips back up through, so I'm going to blow those off. Let me clean this off. We're going to go over to the bench and we're going to test fit this one before we do the others. So I left some pretty wicked looking breakout on the threads here. And then I did come in off camera with the chamfering tool and just touched it just a little bit just to get rid of some of that razor sharp edging. And if you look really close, you can see right there, we've got a little thread breakout through the side. And then I was looking at the original, and right there, same thing. So it's just the radius is so small versus the thread size. Okay, let's see how she fits. Okay. Hey, that feels pretty good. There's just a tiny bit of rock. Let's go in the middle here where it gets more use. Yeah, we'll compare it to the original. I mean, the original wasn't that bad. It's just figured while we're here, let's just make one. This one's got a fair amount of rock, and you can even hear it. So the new one, you can't hear anything. Okay, well anyway, I think that that tap drill size was perfect, and that was we used the letter X. All right, this is the last one. So I switched over to using the fine feed hand wheel and made a big difference, a lot less drama. So I'll show you how that works. So we can start it with the regular down feed. There we go. Much, much better. Yeah, it's just too hard to control it hand feeding it. Okay. All right. All right, slight change of plan. We're gonna do this in the middle. I don't knock you guys over. Okay, I'm going to do the rest off camera. It's too hard to do it with the tripod right in the way. Okay, we got them all made up. So there was some really tricky deburring. You know, there's a lot of breakout, you know, due to the tight radius, and had to spend a little bit of time in there with the small file and scraper, just getting some of those nasty burrs out of there. But yeah, so I'm happy the way they came out. So I've got two friends that are working on the same type of shaper. So one each will go to them, and then I'll have one spare, and we're good to go. Here's the original. I ended up just using an end mill to face these off. I started to do it in the lathe, and I just didn't like the way it was coming out. I think this is a better look doing it this way. So I don't know what happened, but man, 3 days ago was, you know, close to 90 degrees. Today it's like 65 degrees out. Really cooled down, so back to wearing a jacket. Okay, so we're going to put this together. I want to try this first. So this is the graduation dial, and the nut that goes in there. Put a drop of oil on there. Alright, so it's got the retaining screw here, and what I want to do, so I found a piece of, I think that's 14 gauge THHN wire, and I cut a little piece of the insulation off, itty bitty piece, if you guys can see that. So what I'm going to try doing, I don't know if this will work, but I'm going to drop that down into the set screw hole. That, put in our set screw. I'm hoping to get a friction fit here. Okay, I like that. So it's gripping pretty good, but you can still re-zero it like you would do like on a micrometer dial, or a dial indicator dial, I mean. Yeah, that way you don't have to mess around with that set screw when you want to reset your dial. At least that's the theory. Okay. Alright, so we can do that. Alright, now we're going to have to leave a little bit of clearance. Okay, so then we got to put in our Woodruff key. Our handle. Oh, that's pretty tight. Make sure I got that all the way down. I left it rocked just a little bit to try to help it start. Okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. Check our fit here. So I got a really thin 9/16 open end wrench here. Okay, we're going to leave it just like that. Alright, so then our graduated dial, yeah, that works good. So it's got enough friction that it stays, but you can easily adjust it. Okay, good. Okay guys, so before we continue, I'm a total amateur beginner when it comes to slideway scraping. I've only done a teeny bit on a couple other small projects. And like the most of you, I've watched a lot of videos and watched everybody else doing scraping, but until you do it yourself, it's not the same. Okay, it's like reading to drive a car, but never driving one. Okay, so that said, I did do some scraping, and I don't have the proper tools. I'll show you what I got. So I've got these two homemade scrapers that are woefully inadequate, but they do work a little bit. They're just old files that have been, turned into scrapers, and you have to resharpen them after every pass. They just don't. The edge just doesn't hold up. Okay, and being so short, it's hard to control it. Okay. Now I am working on. I did get just yesterday or day before. I got a piece of carbide, genuine scraper blade. I'm going to make a real scraper, but that'll be after this project. All right, so try not to laugh too hard. So I did rescrape this surface, just the flat part. I knew that I better not mess with the dovetail ways themselves, okay? And I did a little bit on the mating surface, just on the flat part, okay? This machine, or at least this part of it, the factory never did any grinding on the ways or any scraping. It was just assembled as machined. So, and I had not intended on doing any type of scraping work, but I put this on the surface plate, glued the plate up just to see how it was, and it was bad. Okay, there was essentially 2 points of contact here and one here, just very poor. So let me cut away. I'll show you. I'm only going to show you 2 photos. I have a couple others, but I'll show you. I think it was the second or third bluing. And then I'll show you the one toward the end. So I think I made it better. I don't think I destroyed it. So hopefully everything will be fine. It seems to fit good, slide good. Of course, and I've stoned it and so on and so forth. But anyways, let's cut away to those stills right now, and then we'll come back and put this together. Okay, yeah, so one of the negatives, the radius is so small on this, that you don't get a really nice scraping pattern. And I was only trying to improve it. I wasn't trying to do a full scrape. I'm just trying to stick to my limitations. Okay, all right, so let's put this together. Oh, and then the gib. So what I did on this gib is first I stoned it and got the burrs off. And I took it over to Chuck Bomarito's shop, and we did a light surface grind on it because there were some pretty good gouges in here. And then after that, I came back and just gave it a light scraping, just to do some flaking, essentially, for oil, just to get some oil retention on it. This gib is pretty thin, and when it's in use, see if I can lay it in there the way it goes. When it's in use, you've got quite a bit of the gib that hangs out either side of the V-way here, and I did a little testing here. You got to be really careful how you adjust this gib, because you can end up putting a bow in it pretty easily, and if you get the end adjusters too tight when you're running the slide up and down, you're going to put extra pressure on the ends, and I think that's what happened. So I'm going to be extra careful trying to adjust this gib. All right, let's put it together here. Once you do a complete assembly, it's really hard to get the feel. So I'm going to leave these two screws out so that we can just slide this back and forth and have a little better chance of getting the gib adjustment correct. Okay guys, I'm going to finish adjusting this off camera. It's kind of fiddly and it's going to take a little bit of time, trial and error. Alright, so I got it all assembled off camera and it feels really good. There's a little bit of a tight spot in here, but I don't think that'll bother me. Yeah, I can feel just a tiny bit. You got to have some for the clearance here. So wow, that's great. Okay, all right, let's put the clapper together. All right, so the clapper, the pin is a tapered pin, and I was just test fitting here, and I put a, you see that red mark. So I don't want to go any farther than that because it needs to swing free in here, but be tight out here.
Okay, so
it's tightening up way before our red mark there. Okay, that's good. I'm just going to give it just a slight tap here. Okay. It feels snug. This is where your 19/32 wrench will come in handy. The one that's been in the bottom of the toolbox for the last 5 years that you never thought you'd find a use for. And we're just going to snug it. Okay, and then that goes on here, obviously. Just put a drop of oil back here. Wrong size screwdriver, but this doesn't need to be that tight. There's a little set screw down here in the bottom, so it's a little fiddly. You got to find the sweet spot, just the right amount of tension so that you can swing the swivel, but there's no apparent play or rocking. So did that off camera, and then the rest is just, you know, the lockdown screw up top here. We're not going to put the lantern in right now. I did find in my collection this kind of thumb screw type screw here, and I think we're going to try this for the clapper lock. Stainless steel. Looks a little better than the little Phillips head that was in there before, and you can work it without any tools. So I kind of like that. It might be a little loose. Might have to do something to, you know, to keep it from just rattling out of there. All right, well that's going to wrap up the down feed, the swivel down feed. We already finished the vise as far as we're going for now. We're going to end this segment right here, and we're going to get started on the cross feed assembly. That'll be in the next episode. So thanks everybody for sticking with this, and if you can, hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. That would be much appreciated, and we will see you on the next video.